Okay, so today we are going over day two of solving equations with variables on both sides. Make sure that you have something to write with. Also, a reminder, if you failed the first 9 weeks, you do have a course protection packet that is due on Friday, November 6th. You must score at least an 80% to receive credit for the first 9 weeks. So let's go ahead and get started. So just a reminder, remember we have steps in order to solve an equation. So to do the equation, we would, follow the steps of PEMDAS, okay? Parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. To solve, we are using the inverse operations. We are undoing it because we want to get our variable by itself, okay? So we have a variable on both sides. So the first thing we need to do is move the smallest variable to one side. The reason we move the smallest variable is so that you don't have to deal with a negative coefficient. Okay. Once we moved our variable to one side, we're going to add or subtract our constant and then multiply or divide our coefficient. But before we get started there, the first thing I want to do, let's go ahead and order these coefficients or variables from least to greatest. So remember, the further away a number is from zero on the negative infinity end, then the smaller that number is. So our smallest number here would actually be negative 21x. Okay. Then the next smallest number would be negative 8x. Okay. Then you have negative x. And then we have x, 6x, 7x, and 17x. It's important that we keep in mind of our integers, especially when we're trying to move our smallest variable for that first step. So remember, the farther away from zero on the negative end, the smaller the number is. So let's take a look at example A. We have negative 7x plus 2 is equal to negative 4x plus 17. So the very first thing that I am going to do, I am going to circle my smallest variable. My smallest variable is 7x. So keep that in mind. You're going to circle your smallest variable. After you do that, then you are going to solve. So we're going to write our equation 7x plus 2 is equal to negative 4x plus 17. Before I get started, I'm going to draw this line down the middle. That helps me identify, okay, an equation is like a balance beam, right? What I do on one side, I have to do on the other to make it equal. We know 7x is our smallest variable because we circled it. So I'm going to use inverse operations. Instead of subtracting 7x, I'm going to add 7x on both sides because I know that is the variable I am moving. Also notice I keep my variables and my like terms under each other. I'm not putting 7x under 2 or 17. You must keep your like terms together. So I'm now left with 2 on this side. So 2 is equal to 3x plus 17. Okay, step 1 is now complete. Now that step 1 is complete, I am going to add or subtract my constant. Well, my constant now is 17, so I'm going to subtract 17 on both sides. This cancels. Now I'm left with 3x is equal to 2 minus 17, which is negative 15. Step 2 is complete. Now I have negative 15 is equal to 3x. Now I'm going to multiply or divide my coefficient. My coefficient is 3, so I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. Okay, this cancels and leaves me with 1x or x, so negative 15 divided by 3 gives me negative 5. X is equal to negative 5. Okay, now let's take a look at example B. Once again, I'm going to first circle my smallest variable, which is negative 2. So I know I'm moving negative 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have 3x plus 22 is equal to negative 2x plus 7. Before I get started, I draw my line. I know I'm moving my smallest variable, which is negative 2. So I'm going to add 2x on both sides. Okay. This cancels. I am now left with 7 is equal to 5x plus 22. Step 1 is complete. Now, after step 1, I am going to subtract my constant because my constant is 22 and it's being added. So the inverse to add is to subtract. So I'm going to subtract 22 on both sides. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. This cancels. I get 5x is equal to negative 15. Okay, step 2 is complete. Now I need to multiply or divide by my coefficient. Well, my coefficient is multiplying, so the opposite is to divide. So I'm going to divide by 5 on both sides. This cancels and leaves me with x. X is equal to negative 3. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and complete your 2 spreadsheets. When you're writing this down, make sure you draw that line all the way down. Make sure you're keeping your like terms under one another, and make sure you're canceling out the things that need to be canceled. Keep your variable on one side, constant on the other, and go ahead and complete your assignment.